Well, hello, friends in Prairie Rose. We are so glad that you are joining us again this Christmas season to do some digital artwork and amp up. Whoopsie. Technical difficulties. I think we're all good. Glad you're joining us today, and we are going to. Technical difficulties. I think we're all good. Okay, now we're hopefully good. All right, if you are joining us, we think that there's maybe one person joining us, at least one school so far. Let us know in the chat, where are you joining us from? If you go to YouTube to watch this, and you click on the chat, if you have the right type of account, you should be able to say hello. And so we'd love to know who is joining us today. Yesterday we had friends from Schuler, so maybe our Schuler friends are back. Hi, Schuler friends. Good to see you. Okay, so what are we getting up to today? Well, we are going to do some artwork in Google Slides, and we're going to learn a ton of skills or remember a lot of skills as we're going through and doing that. Now, if you missed yesterday, you can go on to our Prairie Rose newsletter and find the link to this Dreamlab piece. It's also in YouTube. We'll send, or you can use the link in the email. That will be there as well. And you can join us for some other art if you missed yesterday's session. Okay, today we are going to be making some reindeer art. And so I've got some little reindeer here. We're going to make something kind of like this as we go along. And so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rolling. So you can go to your Google Drive, and on the top button where it says new in the top left corner, you can go new and then choose slides, or you could type slides.new. So if you go into the Omnibox, the browser up there, and you type slides.new, that will give you a brand new slide deck. And so then you'll have a brand new slide deck and you can get started. All right, so when you are in a new slide deck, we'll just get a new slide going there. I'll just use this one. We're going to get rid of all of the boxes on the slide that we start off with. And you probably have over here on the right-hand side a little window that pops up with some different themes. You can click on that X. We want to close everything out so that we have a nice white box. And today I'm even going to move this over so we have even more room, so that's not distracting us over there. All right, so we've got a nice big box to work with. Okay, so we've got a blank slate, as we like to say, or a city after a snowstorm. All right, we are going to come up first of all, and we're going to change the background color. It's kind of nice to work on a background color because our items pop a little bit more. So we're going to come to background, and you can pick something kind of Christmassy for your background. Let's say I'm going to pick maybe like a Christmassy green this time. So that'll be my background. Okay. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start off giving our reindeer a head. And so we are going to come up here to the shape tool. So if we look at our toolbar, the place where all the tools are is called a toolbar. We're going to come up here and we're going to click on, if we hover over it says shape, we're going to click on that. And in the top row, we're going to slide our cursor over to the shapes and then down to the first one in the second row. And now we have a circle or an oval. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag so that I get an oval. So I'll click and drag so that I get an oval. And now what we're going to do is we are going to make it a color. So make it, maybe it's just a smidge bigger. This is going to be the reindeer's head. So we want to make probably a brown reindeer. If I want to make it bigger, I can use Control-Alt-K. Makes it a little bigger. There we go. and Control Alt J to make it a little smaller. I think that's probably right, just about there. Now, we're going to pick a color. So I have to make sure that click on that shape so it gets that blue box around it. And then up at the top, I'm going to go to the bucket. The color, it's called fill color. Now, if your fill color isn't showing, you might have to click on these 3 dots because sometimes if our screen is smaller, we have some items that hide behind there. So you're going to click on the thing that looks like a little paint bucket spilling over. We're going to click on that. Now, I want something that's kind of in the brown family. Now, I think that's a little bit dark. So what I'm going to do is I want a little bit lighter. And so we're going to need to make our own color. We call that a custom color. I'm going to click on this again, click on the paint bucket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the word custom. And now you can see we've got brown. This is the dark brown, but I want something a little lighter. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to move this dot around till I have just kind of the right brown that I want for my deer. I think that's going to be it right there. Oh, maybe even a little dark, little lighter. So I'm going to click on it, click on the paint bucket, click on the word custom, and then I'm going to move that around till I get just the color that I want. Okay, so now we have our head. And we're going to add some eyes. So same thing, we're going to go back to shapes. I'm going to click off of it to get to shapes. There we go, shapes. And this time I'm going to do a circle again. And this time if I click shift and drag, I will get a perfectly round circle. So even if I try to drag that to an oval, I can't. So if you shift and make a circle, it makes a perfect circle instead of an oval. Okay, now I'm going to, I know we need 2 eyes, but I like to be smarter and save some clicks. So we're going to make this eye probably black. So we'll put this in here. Fill color, we're going to make it black. There we go. And then we are going to go Control D to duplicate. So Control D is our duplicate. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little arrows in the bottom right of my keypad or wherever your arrows are, and I can use the arrows to move that eye into place. Okay, and if I want a little tiny move, I can go Shift. Can you see how small that's moving? If I go Shift and use the arrow keys, it moves it just a tiny, tiny little smidge. All right, now, Rudolph. I don't know if this is Rudolph or not. Maybe it's not Rudolph, but our reindeer needs a nose. So now we're going to go back to the shapes. We're going to go circle again. And remember, I'm going to click on circle, but to draw a round, perfectly round nose, I'm going to click shift and I'm going to drag and make this a little bigger. Ooh, about like that. Now, we just learned how to make a custom color this time. Are you ready for this? We are going to learn something new about colors. Again, I'm going to go back to that fill color bucket. This time, did you know that if I click over here on gradient, I get a whole bunch of different choices? And so I am liking this bottom left one. I think it kind of looks like a glowing Rudolph nose. So it's a little darker at the middle and lighter in the middle. That's kind of what the word gradient means. So I'm liking that as a Rudolph nose. This is Nixdorf. So far, so good?
So far, so good. I might make his nose just a tiny bit bigger.
Sure. So Control Alt K makes it, Control Alt K makes it a little bit bigger. How's that?
I think
that's better. Okay. Yeah. So Control Alt K makes it bigger and Control Alt J is a shortcut to make it smaller. Your teacher might even want to write down some of these shortcuts. So we've got Control Alt K to make it bigger, Control Alt J to make it smaller, Control D to duplicate. Whew, we've been learning lots of shortcuts already. Okay, so now we've done some easy things. We've made ovals and circles. Now we are going to use a tool that is probably the trickiest thing that we're going to do today. So this time we're going to make antlers, and I want to move my deer down a little bit so the antlers don't go off the top of the page. So I'm going to click in to the top left of my head, and I'm going to just pull down to the bottom right so that everything is all selected. So if you can see, there's a box around the oval, and actually each of those little circles are blue. So that means everything's all selected together. And I'm going to either drag that down, or I'm actually just using my down key to make his head go down a little bit more in the middle of the page. All right. Now for those antlers in the toolbar, I'm going to click on the one that says line, and I'm going to click on the little down arrow that says select line, and we want the curve tool. Okay. We want the curve tool. So now what happens with the curve tool is I'm going to click and make little points to make the shape of an antler. And at the very end, I have to come back and close up my shape. If I don't close it up, I can't, it won't make a shape, and I can't put color in it. So let's just make some crazy deer antlers. So I'm clicking, drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. And I'm going to start to come down, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. And then I'm going to go backwards. Click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. And probably one, how about one more?
I think so. One more would be good.
One more.
Kind of a shorter one.
Yeah, a little shorter. And then I'm going to bring it back here. And okay, did you see how it made, boop, it came white? That's because I was able to connect my starting point with my end point. And so now I have some antlers. Now, remember, I like to take the easy route on things. And so instead of making antlers again with that tricky tool, we're going to do some things with this one. First of all, we're going to make a color. I like a nice dark brown for those antlers. I think that works okay. Now, Miss Nixdorf, do you remember the duplicate?
Well, I was just going to say, should we make them guess? The duplicate is Control+D.
Okay, so Control-D to duplicate.
Oh, make sure your box is
around.
I
didn't. Okay, there we go. Control-D. I didn't click on, I didn't have it selected. Okay, now here's a new thing we're going to learn. So I'm going to come up to, I'm going to actually right click. And if I scroll down, I see the word rotate. Hopefully this is, oh, you know what? This isn't going to, none of my boxes. Oh, did it show up?
It's
good.
Showing. It's showing.
Rotate. So I want to actually flip. Nope, not vertically. So right click, rotate. I'm going to flip it back up vertically. Yeah, right click, rotate. And now I'm going to say flip horizontally. And I'm going to use my arrow to put that antler up.
Oh, now they're symmetrical.
So now they're a little closer. Now, here's the thing. They kind of look funny on top of the deer head. So what I'm going to do is I want those antlers to go behind the head. So I'm going to choose one. And then I'm going to actually, with the box around the arrow, I'm going to click on the down key. I'm going to click Shift and the down key. And oh, did you see what happened there? It makes the layers go down. So I'm going to try that on this other one. I'm going to click to choose my item. I'm going to click Control and then the down key. There we go. And so that makes it go underneath. So now we have some antlers for our deer. Okay, now we're going to make a body. And so to make a body, we're going to make like a half body, like our deer is sitting up in a chair and he's kind of just chatting with us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the shapes tool. And again, right now you'll see the shapes tool is in my toolbar. This time I'm going to use the second one on the first line. It's kind of a rounded rectangle. So I'm going to click and I'm going to make like a skinny neck. And then I'm going to make another one. So I'm going to pick my shape tool. There he is.
So which shape is that one? Mrs.
It's a round. It's called rounded rectangle. And I'm going to make another one. Okay. So now I'm going to come back to my color picker. Now what I can notice is in my custom row of colors, the color that I made custom will be in that row. And so I don't have to go back to the original default colors. We call all those in the box at the bottom. I have my special custom color that we made and we can add that there. Now I've noticed
a little funny.
It looks a little funny. So a couple things we're going to do here. Now the shoulders of my deer are too sharp. And so when I click on my box, I get a little tiny yellow. Can you see this here? Tiny
Oh.
little yellow dot.
It's tiny.
Okay. It is tiny. So there's a tiny little yellow dot. But when I click on that, see, okay, now watch how my cursor changes. It's like an arrow with arrows to just a crosshair. Once I get that, I can drag it in and it rounds the corners
That's
of the
looking
body of my
better.
deer. Now, the other thing that happens is we've got all these lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to get rid of the lines or the edges around the shape. So let's start with the neck. Clicked on the neck. I'm going to come up to the top where it has border color. And at the very bottom, I'm going to click transparent. So I'm going to click on the body, border color, transparent. Let's do that for the face. Border color, transparent. There we go. So now our deer looks a little bit more whole. Now, I think his neck is too long, so I'm going to make his body a little bit longer. There we go. And then deer usually have kind of a lighter undercoat. So let's give him this deer a little belly since we're seeing him or her in the belly. We're going to go shapes. Let's pick an oval. Yeah, an oval again. And then we'll make like a, oh, that's off center. I'll move it over a bit more. And we're going to make a, this time I want the paint bucket and I want something, lighter like that. Let's get rid of so border color, transparent. There we go. How's that look?
That's starting to come together.
It's starting to come together like a little deer. Okay. So now we also want this to be a Christmas deer. And actually, while I'm looking at these antlers, I think we need to make him have a bigger rack.
Well, I was wondering if we shouldn't do that.
Yeah. He's like, so I'm just clicking and I'm dragging to make his rack a little bigger. Now, they might be a smidge off because I didn't duplicate, but I think that's going to work.
But I noticed, Mrs. Cannikins, you pulled that to make it bigger from the corner.
Yes.
That's kind of an important feature because what happens? There we go. It kind of gets squished.
Yeah.
If we
So,
choose some...
antlers might be something that actually I could maybe they are a little too wide. So in this case, it might be okay to squish those antlers in because they still look like antlers. But normally when we're changing a picture or an image, we want to use the corner, not the side ones. Okay, so now what we're going to do, Miss Nixdorf, our reindeer needs some Christmas cheer. Okay. And so I'm thinking that we're going to try out that curve tool again, and we're going to draw him or her a Santa hat. Oh. So I'm going to come down to curve, and I'm going to draw a Santa hat. So I'm going to draw it like so. I'm going to click and drag and 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 click and drag. And that's going to come down kind of like the pointy part here. And then this is where the end's going to be. And I'm going to come back up.
Kind of like an elf hat.
Well, maybe. Okay. And of course, a good Santa hat is red. So I'm going to click on the fill color bucket and I'm going to pick a nice red. Now, Santa's hat needs some fur. A little wider. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick that curve tool and I'm going to make like the fuzzy part on the hat. Oopsie. Might be a little too close over our deer's eyes, but we can always move that around. Oh, see what happened? I messed up there. I let go of my click at the wrong time. And so now I need to get rid of that and try it again. So I'm going to delete. See how it's all blue? There's my line, didn't close. So I'm going to go back to my line tool, get that curve, and I'm going to try again. And I'm going to draw the white fur on the Santa hat. Come around. And I'm going to close it together, I think, right about there. There we go. So now that's white, kind of gray by default. Let's pick a nice bright white. Woo, there it is. And maybe we'll get rid of the highlight that, and we'll click on the oopsie, the border color. There we go. There. Move that a little bit better under there. There we go. That kind of looks like a Santa hat. Okay, now I noticed that our Santa hat doesn't have a ball at the end. I could draw a ball, or we could use our shapes to get a ball, but we're going to try something a little bit different here. What we're going to do is, actually, you know what? Before we do that, we're going to do one other thing. Remind me that we need a decoration for the end of that Santa's hat. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to give this deer a Merry Christmas sign. Okay. Or Happy Holidays. You can say whatever you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the shapes again. And if we come down, we want to come down to either where there's arrows or call outs. And we're going to pick something that looks like a banner from there. So I kind of like, oh, this one that looks like a bit of a scroll. So I'm going to click and drag across his body like he's holding, oh, that didn't come on there. Like he's holding a banner. There it is. So look at it. It looks kind of like a Christmas scroll, something you might write a list on. And let's see. Let's make that, ooh, maybe something like a darker Christmas green. Green on green. Yeah, we'll try that. Okay. So he's holding a Christmas scroll. Now what we're going to do, something new. We are going to go to word art to make our words. Now we could just add a text box and type in there, but we're going to teach you something else instead. So we're going to go to insert and then at the bottom of the top section, word art. So we get a little pop-up screen that comes on the screen. Whoopsie. Sorry, there's our guy back. Okay, we'll try that again. Insert word art. And now let's say, you could say Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. You could say Happy New Year. I'm going to say Merry Christmas. And I'm going to hit enter. And there it is. So it's way up here. I'm going to make it skinnier.
Make it fit inside that
Make it fit inside that scroll. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, oopsie, is it's selected. I want this to be in, I'm going to fill it with kind of like a goldy yellow. Okay. Merry Christmas. I like that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is, lots of times, Mrs. Nixdorf, we say to our students, use a plainer font. That font's hard to read. Well, friends, today, this is the perfect time to use an unusual font.
Well, sometimes we call those decorative
fonts. So we are going to go to a decorative font. So what I'm going to do right now, up at the top where it says Arial, if you hover over it says font, I'm going to click on that little arrow, and then you get all of these other fonts. And so this would be a good time to use another font. Okay, come on, why are we scrolling here? Okay, there we go. So you could try,
that one looks a little bit like Halloween.
That one looks a little too much like Halloween. Oh, it's called Butcher.
No,
Butcher Man. Okay, so let's keep scrolling. We're going to stay away from Creepster. Okay, that one's not bad. Another one, I think I used that last time, was actually there's this one called Mountains of Christmas. Okay, now if I did that one, I might want to make it bold because that one's a little hard to see. So I'm actually gonna go back. I like this one here. Yeah, make that fit a little bit more. All right. So there is Merry Christmas. Now we have our reindeer. Now, let's say that we want to make another reindeer because, Christmas is all about friends and having a good time. So I'm going to do the same thing we did before when I moved the face of the reindeer. I clicked in the top left-hand corner and I dragged to the bottom right so everything is selected. Now, Mrs. Nixdorf, I'm still testing you. Do you remember the command for duplicate?
Well, this one's a lifesaver. It's Control plus D for duplicate.
Okay, so on your Chromebook, Control plus D. And so now I want to make sure that do you see how I still have the blue box around there? I want to keep that blue box. I'm going to click once and drag it over. Whoopsie. And I'm going to keep that blue box around because I want this to be like a baby deer or a younger deer.
Maybe like a younger sibling.
Like younger sibling. All right, so there we have another one, Merry Christmas. And then maybe I'm going to click off. Now I can change all of these things. So I'm going to say Merry Christmas, maybe Happy Holidays or Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I can fit that in there. And maybe we make this scroll. a blue color, and maybe we make a different stocking color. So maybe his is red, but a little different red. That's not different enough.
So we just have to select each one of those little elements that we've created, and then we can change the color.
And we could even make his, maybe he's a younger deer, so we could make his antlers a little bit smaller or a little different. So I'm dragging them in and up. All right. So, they look a little different. Nice. Yeah. So now both of our deers need something on the end of their Christmas stocking. So we're going to go to add something from the internet. We're going to go insert image, and we're going to go search the web. Okay. So insert image, search the web. One more time, insert image, and then come down to search the web. And on the right-hand side of the screen, we'll get a little pop-up. So I want transparent. That means transparent means you don't have white around the edges. It's just the image. Let's try transparent snowflake and see what we get. Okay, we get lots of them. Some of them are okay, I'm going to try this one. Let's see if it comes in transparent. Sometimes we ask for transparent and it's not really. So let's see if this one is.
So Mrs. Cankins, you had to select it and then you clicked on insert.
Yeah, now look at this one. It has a background.
And it's
so I don't want that. So I'm just going to boop, delete, don't want that. So let's try again. Insert image, search the web, and here it is, transparent snowflake. Let's try this one. Now it's not white. Okay, but it is transparent. Right. Okay. Oh, Miss Nixdorf, I have a plan for this. I have my snowflake here. Did you know that we can do some color changing even on things from the internet? So my snowflake is selected. I'm going to come up at the top with him selected and go to format options. And then I'm going to use recolor. And let's see if there's, oh yes, white. I can recolor white. So now Control D, I've got a bunch of snowflakes. I Control D a whole bunch of times. I'm going to make them different sizes, move them around.
See that Control D.
Control D to save the day.
Save the day.
And now here's the thing, friends. Control D works in a lot of places. It sometimes works in Canva. It works in Google Drawings. It works in lots of different places. So now we have some snowfall. But we still need something. Oh, what about like a jingle bell on the end of his toque? Okay, so format. Oopsie, no, we need insert, image. Forgot I was doing search the web. Let's go round jingle bell. I'm not sure if that's quite what we want, but let's see. No, let's go round Christmas ball. Let's see.
Oh, that might be like a Christmas ornament.
Yeah. Oh. Let's do
I can't think of what that would be called. Like it's like a silver bell, a
cartoon Christmas ball. Oh, there we go. Cartoon. So, or actually the word clip art makes sense too. So I'm going to add this one. So I'm going to click it. Let's see if it's transparent. It is. Excellent. That's too big. His hat would come right off. So I'm going to make it little. And then actually, do you know what I would like to see is if we could make it, let's see if we can get it kind of like a gold bell color. So I've clicked on the shape. I'm going to go to format options over here, recolor. Let's see.
Oh, look at that. There's some gold, sort of a yellowy gold.
That's too bright.
Like
Let's try this one. Oh, that one looks better actually on the picture than it did over there. So that's not bad. I'm actually going to move this. I'm going to control and use my down arrow to make that kind of go behind.
You have to just keep clicking until it gets behind.
There we go.
There we are.
That's not bad.
You know what I like about that is it kind of looks like a gradient color.
Yeah, it does. Yes. And it just came that way. All right. And so maybe we make, we don't want little brother here to feel left out. So we'll make his, make that, oh, there we go. Maybe make his a little smaller. Move that in. I'm going to use my little arrow keys, shift and the arrow key to make tiny, tiny, tiny little movements. There we go. Now, one last thing you could do, we're going to wrap up with this last thing is we just have a green background, but maybe we would like to do something a little bit more interesting. We could add, I don't know, candy canes. We could add all sorts of things. We could draw more things in the background. But what we're going to try is to change the background.
Ooh,
so
okay.
we have a green background to start. It was easier to draw things because they show up. So this time I'm going to go to background and I'm going to go to choose image. Now this time I think I want like I'm going to go to Google Images and I'm going to go to a snowy forest background. Okay, so I'm going to type the word in background. Sometimes if we type the word background in, we get kind of like clearer, like pictures that don't have a lot of other stuff. They're a little bit more plain. So let's see what happens. Ready? Return to search.
Ooh,
okay, so let's try. I'm actually going to, little trick here. I'm going to highlight and copy that, Control-C to copy that, because if the first one doesn't work out, I'm going to want to try again, and I don't want to have to keep typing that. Okay, let's try, oh boy, let's try this guy. Let's see what happens, how those deer look there. Done. Huh.
Not bad.
Not bad.
We kind of lost our snowflakes.
Oh yeah, the snowflakes don't show up there. Well, let's, I'm going to Control duplicate. Okay, now watch this. I added my slides on the side. Let's say I want to play around, but I want to keep that one just in case. I'm going to Control D on the slide. Can you see over here, Miss Nixdorf, how the slide is?
Blue.
The slide has the blue around it there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Control D, or I can right click, duplicate slide, or Control D. So now I'm on another slide. Let's try background again. Choose image. Let's see Google Images. I'm going to Control V to paste snowy background forest. Enter. And let's see if we can find one that works. Maybe that one. Oh, maybe this guy with the.
Our snowflakes show up a bit better.
Snowflakes show up a bit better, yeah. So we can move those around, and then I'm going to Control D on my slide again, and maybe we want to just come back to that green background that we started with, and that's okay too. I've got something right over here in this corner of my screen. If I was going to keep going, I'd put something over here, this Nixdorf in the bottom left. Maybe I'd duplicate and make like a little sister deer.
I was thinking that maybe without some antlers.
Okay, we could have a whole deer family. All right. So, you know what we should do? We should go insert text box. I'm going to click and drag, and up at the top here, I'm going to type my name. This is Cannikins. You could also do that in word art. Ooh, let's make that a fancy font just because it's Christmas time. I'm going to use this Mountains of Christmas one. There we go. Make it bold. There we go. And so if your teacher's collecting these, you're going to want to go to share and then share it with your teacher. So I'll share it with Mrs. Nixdorf, and then your teacher would get a copy of that, hit share. And then your teacher, maybe they want to print them. Maybe you want to make them into a card. Who knows? Maybe your teacher wants to collect them into a whole slide deck so that he or she can print them. All right. We have so enjoyed learning with you today about all sorts of tips and tricks for making great digital art. If you enjoyed making digital Christmas art, we have 3 more different Christmas projects that you can do. And so if you go to, if you type in Prairie Rose or digital design skills in Google Slides, Prairie Rose Instructional Coaches, you'll get YouTube search. You can have our gnome lesson, our Santa Claus, that's not Santa Claus. That is a snowman lesson.
Snowman.
And then up here, the top one is our beautiful Christmas tree forest. And so those are all fun. You learn different skills. You'll practice lots of the same ones today. So teachers, those are actually also in our December newsletter. If you get the Prairie Rose Coaches newsletter, you can check out all of those links there as well. We have had so much fun doing artwork with you today, and we hope that you will enjoy making